Yeah, man. You know how it is. You know who it is. You know where you're at. You're with the big doggy dog. I'm your homie. I'm your boy. I'm your teacher. I'm your student. I'm your anything and everything. I'm Dammy the creator. Every time I say I'm Dammy the creator, I get tempted to say I'm Dammy underscore the creator, but like underscore isn't a part of the name. That's just like an Instagram handle. But anyways, we're here. We're back. We're doing this again. And you know what this is. You know where we are. You know what's happening. This is the Back of the Class show, and I'd like to say thank you for tuning in again this week. I came this close to not uploading this week, to be very honest, but nah, it's fine. No depressive vibes today. Just good energy, good vibes, good everything, good aura. And with that being said, if you want to cheer me up, if you want to make me happy, if you want to put a smile on my face, because why wouldn't you? Go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like, leave a review, do everything, leave a comment, do everything, share the podcast, share the YouTube, share the Spotify, share whatever. You can even, honestly, even just sharing like some of my Instagram reels to like your story also is like, it's great. So please feel free to do that. Feel free to like repost on TikTok and shit. Jesus, it's hot. Feel free to repost on TikTok and shit. Just do anything, just do whatever. And I'll be very appreciative. Thank you for everything you've been doing so far. But we can do some more. We can do some more. So yeah, also follow the socials at Back OT Class Show for the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can follow me on my personal at Dammy underscore the creator on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let me tell you guys something. It was very difficult finding usernames to match on all three platforms. That actually took a lot of work. It's actually very crazy how much work it took. But I was struggling. But that's besides the point. That's besides the topic. That doesn't even matter. That's just by the way. And you know what month we're in? This is June. And we know what June is. June is Pride Month. And as usual, my Pride people, them, happy Pride Month. I hope you guys are having a great time so far. It's like, we're like halfway through the month. A little bit past halfway. So I hope you guys are having a good time. And like, it's pretty hot this month. And a lot of people say it gets hot during Pride Month because it's a preview of what hell feels like. But I like to say it gets hot during Pride Month because the weather is trying to compete with queer people. Because my queer people, them are fire. They're out here. They're repping the gang. They're doing great things. They're hot. And the weather is just trying to compete, but the weather can't keep up. And so the weather just goes high, gets hot. And that's why that's why it's just this hot, because it's just trying to compete with them. So yeah, happy Pride Month to my people. Happy Pride Month to everyone. And also happy Men's Mental Health Month to all of the mandem. But today's not about the mandem. Like I said, 2 episodes Pride, 2 episodes niggas. And today is an episode on pride and being queer and things like that. And I wanted to like do things like, add a little bit of a me into this, like a little bit of a personality. I mean, there's always personality in my videos, to be fair. Like, I'm always bringing some energy, some type of beat. But I want to add a little bit of me, a little bit of personal into this. So I decided that today would be, it would be on queerness and pride and things like that. But it would also be a sort of history lesson. A bit of a history, not a bit, quite a history lesson. And before I get into today's episode, I would very much like to emphasize, to disclaim, to make sure that everyone hears this. Everything that I say on this podcast and everything that I will say on this podcast is based on personal research and personal life experiences and my personal unique perspective on life, because I'm the one who's lived my life, and so I'm the only one who can understand and relate to my life, and I'm just trying to share my experience and like my view and my worldview. So yeah, so please, especially for this episode, do not hesitate to make your own research. Make your own research, do your own research, do your own studies, Do your own thing. And also, feel free to like comment if at any point you like disagree or like have questions or anything. Comment, send a message, do whatever. I'm here to listen. I'm here to talk. I'm here to converse. I want to interact with you. Almost choked on my own spit. But yeah, so today's gonna be a history lesson, and like a lot of you know, by a lot of you I mean like my friends, because mostly my friends listen to this. Give me a second. So like a lot of you know, I'm Nigerian. So that also makes me African. And quite unfortunately, the continent of Africa, a lot of the countries in the continent of Africa are quite queerphobic and have a lot of queerphobic laws and things like that. And so I want to talk about the history of queerphobia in Africa, or like, well, in Africa, to be fair, and where it stems from and how it came to be, because there's a lot of misconceptions of like, oh, queerphobia is African tradition, like Africans frown upon queerness and this and that and that and this, but that is far from the truth as you can get, as far from the truth as you can get, because Africa is not inherently queerphobic, and the traditions in Africa are not inherently queerphobic. So, like we all know, like all of us know, at some point in time, at some point in history, the white man decided to come to the continent and colonize it. And with said colonization came a lot of things, came a lot of new laws, came a lot of religion, well, not religions, but like came Christianity and a lot of new morals and traditions founded in Christianity. And so, and also partitions, and also the creation of Africa being homogeneous. But like, does that matter today? Actually, fuck it, it kind of does. So yeah, so first point, first things first. So Africa is not a queerphobic continent because you more or less group everyone in Africa as a big continent into being this one group of people, which is first of all not the case. Secondly, because of colonization and because of yeah, the white man coming to, to Africa to bring shit, to bring stuff and take stuff as well. A lot of queerphobic traditions and things were put in place, and there's such a big misconception with Africa being queerphobic because, well, surprise, surprise, a lot of the written history that is present for African countries are things that are basically propaganda that were put in place by colonizers to create this to more or less create this false blend, or like false homogeneity, and to make integration better, basically to force black people, Africans, to assimilate to white culture, because queerphobia is very much a white thing, even though nowadays white people are trying their best to change, but like it's very much a white thing. It's not rooted in Africa. It's very much rooted in European traditions and European customs and morals and beliefs and whatnot, and Christianity. Need to add that. That always need to be added. So yeah, so white people got that because look, okay, so I'm Nigerian, I'm Yoruba, and I cannot speak for every African country, for every African tribe, obviously. So please feel free to talk to your people, like whatever African person you have around you. Talk to them, learn some more, and also, like I said before, do some more research, do your research. So now, first of all, I'm Yoruba, and a lot of the language used in my culture, a lot of the language that is used in my culture is very much gender neutral. The pronouns used are quite gender neutral. They apply to men, women, just anyone in general. Like they are quite gender neutral. If I'm wrong and you're Yoruba and you think I'm wrong, please feel free to like hit me up and tell me. But like I assure you that I am not wrong. Like there is no pronouns for he, she, whatever. It's just more or less they, them. And I also find it very interesting when, especially in Nigerians, when Nigerians start to have a problem with non-binary people saying that, oh, how do you expect me to refer to you as they, them, when you're just one person. That's not grammatically correct. But the exact same Nigerian people refer to their elders as they them because, oh, respect. It is a thing in Nigerian culture, like in Nigeria, to not refer to to people older than you, or to people that you quote unquote respect with he, she, her, his, whatever. Like it's always they them. For instance, if in high school, if a teacher asked me to go call someone, or to like tell someone something, I can't say he said he's calling you. I'll be like, they are calling you. But that's just one nigga. It's just a sign of respect. So Nigerians are very, very comfortable with using they, them pronouns. Like, that's not an issue. It's just an issue because someone who's non-binary, someone who's queer, is asking to be referred to as that. And you're just deliberately and intentionally making it an issue because you're just being stubborn and hard-headed. It's not because you care about grammar. You don't give a shit about grammar. You don't give a shit about the English language. Because you refer to your grandmother as they, them. But you don't want to refer to your friend who's non-binary as they, them. If your thing is respect, then do you not respect your friend? Questions, questions, questions. So, prayers. Ask yourself that question. Why do you have such a big problem with referring to people as they, them, when you fully do that in your day-to-day life already? Hmm? 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 But apart from that, I strongly believe that queerphobia isn't an African thing, even though Africa is not homogeneous, is not a monolith, not a homogeneous continent. But even with that being said, I am making generalizations, and I apologize for that in advance and in areas as well. So I strongly believe that at the very least, a lot of places in Africa are not inherently homophobic and queerphobic. I strongly believe that the queerphobia that's present in a lot of African nations is a byproduct of colonization. Well, colonization to be fair, because different countries, different colonizers, of colonization. And that's strongly rooted in Christianity because well, like we all know, Christianity was brought by the white people, and a lot of things were also tweaked, and a lot of things were forced upon Africans. And it's very interesting as well because like Africans are quite religious, so to speak. Yeah, extremely religious. But anyways, I digress again. I keep digressing. I strongly don't think it's queerphobia is an African thing, because we also see it in a lot of art, in a lot of ancient art, a lot of ancient active artifacts, that same-sex relationships were a thing. Like, they appear quite a bit in art and depictions of culture in a lot of places in Africa. There's also, to some extent, written history, written proof, written evidence that African people were quite open and free and quote unquote liberated with their sexuality and the expression of it. Because, for instance, I believe there was a queen in what we now consider to be Angola. There was a queen who would dress as a man, or like what the British would define as a man, or like, sorry, not the British, well, the British, but like, like the white people. Uh, Also, if I say British, I don't always mean British. I just generally mean white. Which is like, to me, because like I'm Nigerian, the term colonizer, like straight up, like is attached to British. Like, I know it French. It could also be French, Portuguese, and Spanish in like other European countries. But it's just like I have like an automatic connection between colonizer and British. It's just a thing. And I apologize if I misspeak as I go ahead. So like I was saying, there was a queen in what we now consider to be Angola that would dress as a man, or like what we would consider masculine at the moment. Would dress as a man, and would also, like, in her palace would have like a harem, or basically like a bunch of men who would be in her palace, to satisfy her. Go queen. We love a queen doing that. a bunch of men who were in the palace to essentially satisfy, and these men would dress as women, and she would also refer to these men as her wife, as her wives. That's a black queen. That is a black queen for real. We love that. So, and this was the queen of this nation. This was a queen of this entity. And if the queen is doing that, and it's and the subjects are not like side eye, doesn't that imply that that was a normal thing? Doesn't that imply that that was culturally fine? Doesn't that imply that that was culturally okay? But let a woman try that now. Let men try that now in Africa. And oh, Oprah, oh no, you're a disgrace to the culture. You're doing this, you're doing that. That is so wrong. This is not natural. Yada yada yeah. Huh? But this is proof that it was normal. It was very much normal. Uh there's also like written evidence. There's also like written evidence of like I think it was the Azande people. Yeah, I think it was the Azande people once again. I don't have my notes on me. I actually have them right there. I should probably pick them up, but like that would be weird for the camera. But anyway, I was the Azande people. In the Azande, amongst the Azande people, it was noticed by the colonizers again that these people would engage in same-sex relationships. And why? Why did they engage in same-sex relationships? You might be wondering. Because they like each other. Gasp! Oh, that is so sinful. That is so bad. Oh no. Hell, fire, sorrows, praise. But that's just what they did. The only reason they had for engaging in same-sex relationships was just the fact that they liked each other. The fact that they were into each other. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like something that happens nowadays? But yet we like to be like, oh, that is so not African. You know, you're not supposed to do this. That is such a taboo. But there's evidence that our ancestors engaged in this taboo thing. And this is not necessarily to say, to force people to be like, oh yeah, you know, like, if you're not queer, that's fine. Like, this is not trying to say like, oh, you should be queer because your ancestors were. But this is to say that saying that being queer isn't natural is very, very dumb, because there's a lot of evidence that it's been happening. Or like to say that being queer is not like an African thing. There's evidence it has been. It always was. And yeah, sure, a lot of the like yeah, and sure, English. And yeah, sure, you can say that, oh, but it's been this way for so long that you know that queerness has been frowned upon. But wake up, guys, wake up, decolonize your mind. Decolonize your mind. It's been this way for a long time because colonization happened late 19th century, early 20th century. It happened. Colonization happened. And with colonization came a lot of lies, a lot of things were rewritten. Like, because a lot of African people, a lot of African nations or like villages and things like that, tribes, didn't necessarily preserve culture by writing that, by like writing it in scripts, because man them were just chilling, because they just like their outlook on life was just like life is life, it just passes, and they weren't necessarily bothered to like continuously write down, oh, this is what happened today. Like, no, that's kind of, like, that's kind of weird when I think about it. That's actually kind of weird. It's a bit narcissistic as well. Kind of weird. Kind of, like, why do you want to do that? Like, what's the point? But anyways, that's besides the point. But a lot of things were like preserved and saved through art, through expression, through culture, just through being, just through existing. And it's because of colonization that there's a lot of written history, and a lot of the written history that we have was written by the white man, the same white man who came to the land and could not understand the languages being spoken by the people, and just was like, oh, okay, I believe what they're trying to communicate is this. Huh? My guy, you don't understand what they're telling you. They might be telling you, bro, you look weird, you're ugly. And he's like, oh, I believe they're complimenting my trousers. Because that's really what happened. That is really what happened. white men were just out there just writing down shit that they thought was happening, but really it's not what they thought was happening. It was really what they wanted it to be. And that's how a lot of things have been passed down. A lot of lies have been passed down. And I really imply, I really like suggest or like encourage that we all decolonize our mind, especially when it comes to queerness in Africa and things like that. That we all decolonize our mind, we all do our research, we all like study up and do things. And also ask like very simple questions to yourself. Like I said, a lot of cultures in that I know about at the very least, in a lot of cultures in Africa have very gender neutral languages. And I think that's like a very good first step to be like, if gender and sexuality are such a big thing in this, in in my culture, in in Africa, in your country, well, for me in Nigeria, in by and in being Yoruba, if gender and sexuality are such a big thing, why doesn't the language reflect that? Why don't we have he she pronouns? Why do we refer to people as they them? One queer, that means they are calling you, but like that just that's just you saying that someone is calling you, someone who's older than you, someone you have respect for, be it a man, be it a woman, be it a non-binary person. One, that's a very gender neutral term. Unqueer, that's a very gender neutral term as well. That just means that person is calling you. On means it could be he, it could be she, it could be it's just unqueer. That's gender neutral. If gender was such a big thing, they would be like, oh, he is calling you. But no, you say unqueer. That doesn't mean shit. The person who's calling you could be male, could be female, could be anything. Could be a dog. Could be a dog. Anybody. Could be a child. Could be a baby. So yeah, I think we really need to start asking ourselves very important questions and start working towards decolonizing the way we think and the way we view things and the way we look at our cultures and the way we look at the traditions that we've been told that are ours. Think about it, because when you think about it, a lot of lines don't add up. Like a lot of lines do not connect. A lot of lines do not connect. But anyways, that's the history lesson for today. I think this has been on for like 20 minutes now, so I'm gonna end this here. I am going to end this here. And once again, guys, please do your own research, please do your own studying, please do your own thing. Like I said in the very first episode, take everything I say with a heap of salt and a couple cubes of Maggi, and just do your own research. But yeah, to end this episode, let's add some music to the playlist. What kills me about this playlist thing is that every week I know I have to add songs to it, but like I don't pay attention to whatever music I'm listening to. I just kind of listen to it. But I think first song I'm going to add to this playlist is Rockstar P by Rockstar P by Baby Keem. I'm going to add The Hillybillies by Kendrick and Baby Keem as well. And lastly, I am going to add I know exactly what song I want to add. What's it called? This happens all the time. I'm actually going to try. Fuck it. I can't remember the name of the song. I'm gonna add SOS by SZA. So yeah, those are the 3 songs for the playlist. And once again, thank you for listening. Make sure to like, leave a comment, repost, share this podcast with your friends, with your network, with your people, them, and follow the socials at Back OT Class Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and at Dami_the creator on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And yeah, once again, happy Pride Month to my people. Keep in mind you're fire, and that's why the weather is trying to compete with you. The weather is hot because you're hot, but the weather can't be as hot as you. So make peace with the fact that you're gonna be hotter than the weather at every point in time. Make peace with that, and have a wonderful week. Have a good day, and like always, I love you, and I hope you love me too. Bye.